Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer. Apologies first off, I get a little croaky, my hay fever's beginning to kick in and it's making a little bit of a problem. There you go, Nurgle is playing dastardly things. Next up, you may not have noticed, I haven't done any of our monthly tournament reports for a few months. And that was basically because I kind of felt that they weren't particularly interesting to people. I didn't really get the views, didn't get the likes, and that's fine. But I had decided that as they weren't all that interesting to people, I wouldn't really bother anymore. And then I recently got a telling off by one of our local players, Mr. Phil. Hey, Mr. Phil, who gave me a right telling off because I hadn't done them for a while. So here I am. On a cold spring evening, cup of hot chocolate, back to front, says Pot Noodle, to tell you about Saturday's tournament that just gone by. So I've been playing with a list for a few weeks, which I was quite happy with. I hadn't initially intended to bring it to this tournament. I was just playing it for the funsies, and I'll go through that list with you. So, as always, being the Imperial Fist successor, I was running the Anvil Siege Force. I know a lot of people don't like it. I think it's actually quite good for what I want it to do. Mainly, if I get the benefit of the specific rule, it's great. Primarily, I tend to use it for the stratagem that lets me have sustained hits, because with the right unit, that's absolutely brilliant. But let's see. So, Warlord was Gravis Captain with Double Fist. Because I like it. I think it's a lot better than the guy with the sword. And Indomitable Fury, I think, is the enhancement. So basically, if that character dies, he has a chance at the end of the phase to stand back up on full wounds as close as possible to where he died. Brilliant. Only triggered once in the event, and it worked. So yay, worth the points. Attached to a unit of 6 Boltstorm aggressors, because they're far better than the Flamestorm aggressors. I will die on that hill. Boltstorm aggressors are always the way forward for these guys. I also had a Terminator Librarian, simply because you get it for free. I decided to try with the combi weapon. I'm not a fan of combi weapons. In this edition, I think they're fairly pants. It's great if you want to kill one guy on his own. But hey, it's slightly better than a Stormbolter in a way. So I decided to take that. And he had the Stoic Defender enhancement, so that the Terminator squad that he was leading, if they're controlling it on an objective I control, they get a 6 up feel no pain, and their OC halves rather than goes to 0 if they become battle shocked. And yes, he's with a 5-man Terminator squad, as I said. I also had a basic lieutenant with the Mastercrafted bolt rifle and combat weapon, because I had a spare few points. Battle line, 2 heavy intercessor squads, 5-man, each with a heavy bolter, 2 intercessor squads. With one, the sergeant has power sword, the other, the sergeant has a plasma pistol and chainsword. And that was the one I generally put the lieutenant with, but it kind of varied on the game. They're more now because they're actually worth playing now that they've been enhanced in the Grotmus updates. 3-man Eradicator squad in Strategic Reserve. Did absolutely nothing in this event particularly, and that's my usual experience with them. But I haven't played them for months, so I thought I'd give it a go. 3-man Inceptor squad, Assault Bolter variant, because that's still far better in my eyes than the Plasma variant. Always do a good job for me, even though they tend to die most games fairly straight after. 2 Redempted Dreadnoughts, one with the Plasma, one with the Onslaught Cannon, like the Dreadnoughts, and a Spartan, which is what my captain and his aggressor bodyguard squad were in. In practice games, the Spartan was phenomenal. but only in 2 of them did they ever actually get out. On one of them, they got out, the Spartan killed what they were going to charge, and then they just jumped back in and played no further part in the game. So I was hoping they would do slightly better this time. And in one game, two games, they actually did really well. And that was 2,000 points dead on the nose. All in all, I was quite happy. I have been quite happy with how this list played, and I was very happy with how it played on Saturday. So let's take a look at what we got. So, first round in the morning. I pull my friend Marco, who is one of the more competitive players that we have. So not a good match-up for me straight off the bat. So excuse me while I take a swig of hot chocolate. To push back the horrors of the game. So Marco brought his Thousand Suns, Cult of Magic detachment. Primarily featuring, I think this was like a practice for some actual GTs he's going to. There was a couple of Mutalith Vortex Beasts, and he took Magnus. So I'm like, I am so screwed here. Deployment and all that good stuff was Crucible of Battle, Inspired Leadership, and Unexploded Ordnance. A bit of a, not a great game setup. In this one, I kind of wanted him to get the first turn, and it didn't work out that way. But I did manage to pop off one of the more Mutalith Beasts turn 1 with the Spartan, and round 2 I popped Magnus with the Spartan. So actually I will take that. But ultimately, Marco's list was able to put out a lot of mortal wounds, a lot of devastating wounds, a lot of stuff I just couldn't resist or save against. And ultimately, the game was relatively quick, and he took a sizable. Now, bear in mind, in this, we don't do the 10 points because it's generally a fun and friendly tournament. So before painting, we were both painted. He had 75 to 25 at the end. There was very little I could do. He had full control of the objectives, pretty much, using his Chaos Spawn to generally push things up the board. And, I just could not, even trying to play for secondaries, just wasn't going to happen. So well done to Marco for that. It was a well-deserved win, if it's a bit frustrating. Second round. We had a new player. I hope I get his name correct here. Sharu. Apologies, Mr. Sharu, if I get your name wrong. I think a relatively new player to the game, which was nice because it meant I wasn't likely to be playing someone competitive. It also meant I could relax and just have a fun, friendly, casual game, which is exactly what we got. And he was playing Awakened Dynasty Necrons. And I looked at his list and again, my heart sank. Silent King, Void Dragon, Doomsday Ark, big blobs of warriors and what have you. And I was like, I've never, in the whole of 10th edition, in fact, I think even going back through 9th, I've never won a game against Necrons. I had a game in a tournament a few months back against my friend Mulch. And at the end of that, I had no models left at turn 5. His entire army was intact and on full wounds. It's like, how do I deal with that? This particular game, however, we had Hammer and Anvil deployment with Fog of War, which kind of saved both allies, but were also really annoying for the lack of the rerolls and so forth. And Take and Hold was our primary mission. This particular game was kind of the complete opposite. Shrew got some good rolls. I got some phenomenally good rolls. He got some bad rolls, and I continued to get phenomenally good rolls. The Destroyer Arc. my brain's forgotten now. The big arc thing with the big gun. Did some damage, but got popped relatively quickly. The Void Dragon got blasted quite significantly, and as it healed about probably halfway just over, my aggressors leapt out the Spartan and basically beat it to death, which I was very proud with. Those Marines will be getting promotions. And then we proceeded to basically burn the Silent King down to 1 wound. I didn't dispatch him, but we kept him occupied. And basically, in this game, I was able to hold the majority of the objectives. I think the secondaries were playing very much into my hands, and ultimately ended up forcing what was left of the Necrons turn 4 and 5 back onto their own home objective, where they just sat there and spent the rest of the game. And this ended up with a 71-35 win for me before painting points. It was a really good game. It sounds like I'm gloating a little bit. I'm not, I promise. I was just amazed that I was doing so well against the Necron army, which normally burned me to dust really, really quickly. So I got a nice victory there. A really good, friendly, casual game. Neither of us took it too seriously. It was just roll the dice, see what happens. It's just that my dice were on fire. And, well, you know, when that happens with my Marines, it happens. And it does really, really well. But normally they don't do anywhere like they did in this. So thank you to Mr. Chiru for a really good game. And I hope we face again in another tournament. So halfway through, I'm a 1-1. I'll take that. What do I get? Round 3. One of our other regular players, Big Chris, with 1,000 Suns, Cult of Magic. And I'm like, no, not more 1,000 Suns. It was very much a chaos day, I will point out. It was, what did we have? Did I make a note of it on here? No, let me try and remember. So it was my Marines. We had 2,000 Suns. We had Necrons. We had World Eaters, Chaos Knights, Dark Angels, and Craftworld Eldari. It was very much a day of chaosiness, so I shouldn't be too surprised. Excuse me. I had really hoped to play against the World Eaters, but was not to be. So, what did we get for this? So this was a slightly different list. This was, Chris's list was much more, what they call Zangors, lots and lots of Zangors, 1,000 Suns with the Flamers, horrible, horrible things. No Magnus in this one. This was an Ahriman-led force with a couple of, what are they called? Mauler Fiend and the Shooty one. And again, my brain is not working this time of night. The Shooty one, as well as a Mutalith Beast. Now, deployment and what have you, we had Tipping Point with Smoke and Mirrors, which I don't think either of us used. And Purge the Foe was the primary, so it was just kill things, playing up the table. And so I'm prepared to go. I've got my win for the round. I got my round 2. This was a hard match to watch. So my opponent, Mr. Chris, had bought himself these brand new dice, really cool dice, for his 1,000 Suns, and I have never in my life seen so many 1s and 2s rolled consistently and consecutively over an entire 5-round game. I at one point I was like, yes, I'm beating 1,000 Suns, yay! And then I'm like, what is wrong with your dice? Seriously, what is wrong with your dice? I just could not believe my eyes. I was taking casualties, but nowhere near what he was. And it wasn't just because they were Zangors. I was burning through everything. His Mutalith Beast went down. Pretty much everything else died to bolt of fire, or the aggressors popping out and just unloading weight of dice into things. Even stuff like Stormbolters, which would do which AP dash were burning down, sort of like well, as I said, it was all ones and twos. I don't want to drag out the pain any more than I have to, but my word. So it was close on points. It was very, very close on points. We both did really well on primaries and secondaries, and it ended up being a win to me, 76-70. Wow. Even with his, Zinch was not with his dice rolls. Let's put it that way. And even with that, he did very, very well. It was a really, really good match. The Warhammer player in me was like, hey, 2 wins, 1 loss, I'll take that. Yay. But the casual side of me was like, dude, you need to get rid of those dice. Burn those dice and buy new ones. Oh my word, they were corrupted and not in a good way. All in all, I came 3rd in the event out of 8. Marco topped. My friend Mr. Phil, hey Mr. Phil, with his Chaos Knights came 2nd. Then me. Dark Angels 4th. World Eaters 5th. Big Chris with his 1,000 Suns came 6th. The Necrons came 7th. And unfortunately, the poor Eldari, I am shocked to say, came away last place with no wins. And that took my breath away. Eldari normally do a damn sight better than that. But I didn't get to really see a lot of Charles's game, so I don't really know what went wrong for him. But that was a really good day's gaming. It started off really crap for me with a terrible loss, and then peaked with 2 really good scoring games, and I would take that. I was happy with that. So really good tournament. That's my luck for the year done. So a big thank you to GamesHub for hosting our game, for Mr. Julian for organising and running it, and for all my opponents for a really great days of gaming. And I look forward to seeing as many of you in the next one as I can, and in friendly games between that. So that was GamesHub tournament April 2025. An interesting and extremely fun day. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more of these, I mean, I know they're just me waffling, but please say so down below. Give me a thumbs up. Give me 2 thumbs up. That'd be really cool. And hit the subscribe button. Help me grow the channel. Until next time, take care, guys. Good gaming.